Okay, now, dear students, before we actually start all the kind of problems in this chapter, motion along a straight line, we will just start with a very fundamental question which has come in 1992 NEET. Okay, just read the question. Which of the following curve does not represent motion in one dimension? Now, does not represent motion in one dimension. Let us now go through the options first. This all now velocity versus time graph. All the four options are. Now take the first option A. The velocity of the time graph, velocity versus time graph is going like this. Velocity starts from 0 and then goes uniformly increasing and then reaches a maximum point and then uniformly decreasing. Yes, it is possible. Therefore, this is definitely possible. Now go to option C next. Then it is also very similar. Velocity starts with some particular value u here and then goes about it actually varying with time. Therefore, it's not. It is also varying at a different rate because now the slope dv by dt represents acceleration. Therefore, from this particular slope of the graph, you can actually make out that it is all acceleration is now initially it is less because slope is less, then goes on increasing. Acceleration is increasing with time is the kind of graph here. That also is possible. Now go to the D option. D option also velocity varies with time. And then as per acceleration, what happens is now acceleration is some particular value, that is slope, and then the slope is going on decreasing and the slope becomes 0 here, which means at that particular point acceleration is equal to 0. Then what happens? Then becomes retardation because the slope is becoming negative around this place. Now let me just now show you this better. So now slope is negative in this particular region, and then it is negative until this particular region. Now velocity is becoming negative also. Therefore, now this also is definitely possible. Therefore, all the three options are possible. Now let's now take this option B. Option B basically ruled out. Actually, is wrong because velocity cannot have two different values at the same time. Take for example now at any time. Now this particular ordinate here represents velocity can be either top fellow or the bottom fellow. Now it cannot have two values at any time. Now when you draw ordinate at any time t, this now cutting the graph in two points. That means velocity can be either this or this. It cannot be possible because at any time velocity has to be having a unique value. Therefore, this is not possible. Now, this basically is a very fundamental aspect and then mathematics people would definitely know it very easily what is the answer. Therefore, this does not represent the motion along not only a straight line, motion anywhere, because at any time velocity has to be only a unique value. It cannot have two different values. Okay, now this is what I wanted to understand. This is a very fundamental question asked in 1992 NEET. Now let's go into the kind of topics what we have covered in our summary, saying that the first topic kind of question what will come is constant velocity problems. Then there are now type A is to find average velocity under two different cases. One is like this. Read the question here. Example 1. Consider a particle moving along a straight line from point A to point B such that, let me just now show you this. This is motion along a straight line, point A here, point B here. Therefore, the particle moving from point A to point B is the journey. Now, moving along a straight line from point to point B such that it travels with velocity v1, v2 and v3 during the first to 1/3 and the next to 1/3 and the last to 1/3 time of journey. Suppose now the time taken for traveling from A to B total time is t, let us say. Then what happens is, then the problem says for first t by 3 time, let us say now this is at this particular point. Now this now take t by 3 time. Then the next t by 3 it may be here. Next t by 3. Next t by 3 it may be here. Therefore now this now the time breakups. That equal time breakups t by 3. Now the velocity for the first part is given as v1. Velocity for the second part given v2. Third part v3. Then the question is come, what is the average velocity for the entire journey? Now the data which is given is only v1, v2, v3 as the first to 1/3, second 1/3, third 1/3 time breakups. Now therefore now what is now the definition of average velocity? Average velocity is given by, the definition we know is total displacement by total time. Now in this case, now let this AB distance be called s. Then this is the average velocity. Therefore, if you now do it, then what happens is, now how do we get this? Now total s is given by, now you take the first t by 3 time, it covers s1. S1 equal to velocity into, because uniform velocity into time will give you the displacement during the first part, s1. Plus, what is now for the second part, s2 into t by 3. What is for the third part, v3 is the velocity which is given and in t by 3. Therefore, this is now the total displacement in numerator we have taken. Divide by denominator is now t, what you assume. Now remember that the symbols s and t is not given in the problem. we have assumed as a kind of intermediate variable because we had assumed some particular total displacement as S and the total time taken as T. On our own, we have assumed, therefore, this should not find a place in the final answer. And naturally, what happens is now, as what we have done, now T gets cancelled off. Therefore, now the final answer becomes the average velocity for the entire journey is V1 plus V2 by V3 plus V3 divided by 3. This is nothing but simple arithmetic average or arithmetic mean. This is called as arithmetic mean. Therefore, now like this, now any problem where they are given that the velocity varies during the first part, second part, third part, then that is equal intervals of time is the breakup, then V1, V2, V3, then it's nothing but the arithmetic mean, or a simple we know is called the average. Average, that is called mathematical average or arithmetical mean of the three velocities given. Now, if the question is slightly changed, I'm saying now this A to B is a journey, and then for the first 1/3 of the time you're traveling with the velocity v1, and then the balance time is nothing but 2t by 3, that is 2/3 of the total time traveling with the velocity v2. Then what is the answer for the v by v average? Now it's nothing but we can simply assume now it is 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 time breakups, equal time breakups. Then so happens we can assume now for the second 1/3 time v2, third 1/3 time also is v2, because earlier problem we assumed v1, v2, v3. Now it's nothing but it is now the same thing as v1, v2 and then v2 again. Therefore this is nothing but this is now equal to v1 plus v2 plus v2 again divided by 3. Therefore this can be written as v1 plus 2v2 by 3. Okay, now this is how it is. Therefore this is a method. Therefore this becomes very simple. Therefore it's now so simple that such kind of questions are nowadays never asked. That is, equal time breakups is never asked. They most probably they will ask you equal distance breakup, which you will see as a kind of a next kind of problem. Now this is a kind of a question which is now says now distance path with different velocities. Now take this particular question and then read it now. Example 3. Consider a particle moving from A to B such that it travels with a velocity v1, v2 and v3 and v4 covering consecutive 1/4 distances of AB respectively. What is average velocity? Let me just explain what is the problem. Now like this. Now there is a journey from A to B along a straight line. Now subdivided into 4 equal parts of distance. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, that means suppose now the total distance is taken as S. Assume. Okay, as I said, this is not the data which is given in the problem. We have to assume it for our calculation purpose. Assume the total distance as S. Then it's now subdivided into 4 equal parts in this particular problem. S by 4, S by 4, S by 4. Distance breakup. That means equal distance breakup. And that is given that the particle traveling with the constant velocity v1 during the first part. Then v2 for the second S by 4 distance. Then v3. Then v4 is the then what is the average velocity it is now taken. What is the definition of average velocity? Again, nothing but total displacement by total time taken. Now let us now find out what is total distance remains the same. Yes. What is now the time taken total will find out. For the first part, it is covering S by 4 distance with the velocity v1. This is now the time t1 for the first part. Similarly, now S by 4 by v2 is the second part. What is the time taken? Similarly, S by 4 by v3 plus S by 4 by v4. Therefore, this can be written now S will get cancelled from numerator as denominator. Therefore, now we are getting that 1 divided by 1 by 4 is common, 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus 1 by v3 plus 1 by v4 is now is equal to velocity, average velocity. Or we can write it as this one reciprocal 1 by v average is given by average of, because we are dividing by 4 of all the reciprocals are the velocities. Okay, recall what is the earlier case when we had equal intervals of time breakup v1, v2, v3, v4. Then the final answer is V average is the average of the 4 velocities. Now in the case of a equal distances breakup, different velocity v1, v2, v3, v4, then this thing comes as the reciprocal of the answer, with nothing but velocity, average velocity reciprocal is given by the mean, that average of the reciprocals of the velocities plus v1 by v4. Okay, now just to summarize, therefore this is called as, now if you know mathematics, it's called as harmonic mean of 4 values. Harmonic mean. Now earlier case of equal time is called as arithmetic mean or simple average as we know in our language. Whereas now the average of the reciprocals gives a reciprocal of the harmonic mean. Therefore, harmonic mean is nothing but harmonic mean is the reciprocal of the harmonic mean. 1 by harmonic mean of the 4 values is given by average of the reciprocals, sigma. Let me put it like this. This is called the harmonic mean. Now this is the case, I repeat, is if you are given the different values of velocities for different equal intervals of distance, equal parts of distance, equal breakup of distances, then this is the harmonic mean. Okay, now that you got it, now let us now ask you another question. Supposing now it's like this. Now distance is AB is a journey, and then for the first 1/4 it is traveling with velocity v1, and then the balanced 3/4 is traveling with the velocity v2. Then what about the average velocity? Is nothing but 1 by v average equal to average of 4 parts. Only thing is here you are taking first part is v1, then second part is v2, third part also is v2, fourth also is v2. Therefore this can be written as, this is what is the average velocity. Therefore now remember, don't forget to take the reciprocal finally in order to give the result value is v average is equal to, take the reciprocal of this whatever you are getting right now. Now like for example, suppose now I ask you a question. Let's take example. Okay, let's take now equal distances, 3 parts of 20 meters per second, 30 meters per second, 40 meters per second, or the 3 different velocities with which a particle is traveling equal 1/3, the middle 1/3 and last 1/3 distance of the journey. Then what is the average velocity for the entire journey? Therefore you now go to find it as v average is the average of the reciprocal, which is 1 by 20 plus 1 by 30 plus 1 by 40. Find out these values on the right hand side, and then take the reciprocal in order to give the value 1 by average. Now you can also remember this. Suppose there are only 2 parts, 2 equal parts, then we know that v average can be taken, a formula can be 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. Okay, try it out. 1 by v average is half of 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. Take LCM, 2v1 v2 at the bottom, then at the top what are you getting is v1 plus v2 is 1 by v average. Therefore v average happens to be now reciprocal. You take 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. Okay. Now this is what it is. Now similarly, now if there are now three values, 3 breakup of equal distances, then you'll get the v average. I'm sorry, just 1 second. If there are 3 breakups, the v average will be equal to 3v1 v2 v3 by v1 v2 plus v2 v3 plus v3 v4, like that. Okay, now you don't have to remember this kind of formulas, because you can always work it out as per the basic 1 by v average equal to 1 by n. Suppose there are n partitions, then into sigma of 1 by vi. Okay, now I from 1 to n. This you can use. Okay, let's take for example then. Okay, take for example this example 4 and then try it out. What if the problem is modified to v1 for the first 1/4 and v2 for the middle half distance and v3 for the remaining 1/4? Which case what you do is you subdivide into 4 equal parts of distances. First part v1, second and the third part you put v2, and last part is v3. Therefore then what happens, this is now your final answer you will get out of it. Okay, as I said, remember, don't forget to now invert this particular value to get the v average. Take this problem. I want you to now do the mathematics in a slightly different manner. Now it's like this. Now what is the answer? Now what we have got now in this particular problem we had subdivisions like this: 1/4 of the distance, then the 1/2 of the distance, then 1/4. So that is called as, now this is 1/4 distance, the next half distance, then 1/4 distance. So then here we had the data, this traveling with v1 velocity, v2 and then v3. Therefore then what we are asked is what is v average for this, and then we got it as this particular formula. Fine enough. That is what we have done is we are taking reciprocal of the average is equal to the mean of the reciprocals, 1 by v1 plus, now the next 2, this thing is 2 by v2 plus 1 by v3. What we have got basically is that is 1/4 of the first distance breakup with the velocity v1 plus next half distance breakup velocity v2. Next 1/4 again is velocity v3, isn't it? This is what is the formula finally coming to now. I want to now view it like a different manner. What is it? First breakup is 25% of the distance. Next breakup is 50%, next 50%. Next breakup is another, then back again is 25%. Or rather, what we have got is 0.25 fraction, then 0.5 fraction, 0.25 fraction again, with the velocity v1, they were reciprocals. v2 by v3, therefore add this fellows like this. This is going to be our v average. Like, and therefore now any kind of problem like this, I want you to view it like this. Like for example, now take the example. Now there is a distance from A to B, travel journey, A to B. Now the first 15% of the distance is travel with the velocity v1. Then the next, let us say now 35% travel with velocity v2. Then the balance, let us say, then balance is, what is the 50% with the velocity v3. Therefore then what is v average? I wanted to simply now write like this. Therefore 1 by v average is equal to 0.15 fraction with v1 plus next to 0.35 fraction with v2 plus next to 0.5 fraction with v3. Now this particular fraction will always add up to 1. Now and therefore supposing now you have a different kind of a data which says, let me just now explain, different kind of data. Okay, let me explain. Suppose now you have a different kind of a problem which says that example. Now there is a journey from A to B. Now you have now point C, point D, point E. Subdivide this distances in the ratio 2:4:3:6. Okay, 4:6. Now therefore then what is, and also now it is traveling with the velocity, let us say 10 meters per second here, 20 meters per second here, 15 here, 15 meters per second. Then let us say again 12 meters per second. This is the velocity. What is the average velocity? Now what is it? Now therefore then what is the fraction here? 2 plus 4, 6 plus 6, 12, 15. 2 by 15 fraction with the velocity 10 plus how much fraction? 4 by 15 fraction with 20 plus 3 by 15 fraction with 15 plus 6 by 15 fraction with 12. Right now? Or you could actually now do it also like this. This is what is the V average. This is V average. 1 by V average is given by. You could also say the now nothing but what is the ratios? 2 divided by 10, then plus 4 divided by 20 plus 3 divided by 15 plus 6 divided by 12, the whole divided by 2 plus 4 plus 3 plus 6. How much is it? 15. Right. Now what we are actually trying to do is something very similar to what you do for in your chemistry calculations. Like for example, a typical chemistry thing, you have something called mole fractions. Like supposing now you have a chemistry problem which says there are 3 different solutes making up the solution, and the mole fractions are let us say 0.8, 0.1 and then 0.1, and with concentrations of these are, let us say 2 units, 4 units, 5 units. Therefore then what is the concentration of the solution made of these 3? What you do now, the mole fraction into its concentration plus mole fraction into its concentration plus mole fraction into concentration divided by, now the mole fractions, when you are talking about fractions, they will always add up to 1. Therefore you don't have to bother about this. Whereas now in the kind of a ratio, they don't add up to 1. Therefore you now divide by this. Or we already now divided by this, 2 by 15 here, 4 by 15. It comes to same mathematics. Therefore you don't have to bother about it, because now this fraction will always add up to 1. Or percentages, if you call it percentages, then they will always add up to 100%. Therefore you don't have to actually divide it like this. Understand this kind of a concept. Therefore you don't have to worry about it, even if it is a complicated problem giving you what is the fraction of the distance breakups, like what I have given. Okay, 25% of the first distance is traveled with V1, then followed by 50% of the distance with V2. Back again the last 25% of the distance with V3. What is it? Then you take the percentage as a fraction like this, 0.25, 0.5, 0.25, divide by this and this, and therefore you get the V average. Understood? No? Now, why I am now explaining is, now you may or may not get this kind of a situation, this kind of a problem in your NEET or JEE Main for that matter. But still, you know the mathematics can be taken like this in case you get a problem of this similar nature. Maybe you will definitely get something of the nature about about 25% of the total distance, first distance, 50%, 25%, you are likely to get it. Therefore, then don't worry about now your 1 by 4. 1 by 4 formula also will be perfectly fine, but then this makes a lot of sense. This particular fractional distance makes a lot of sense in terms of mathematical construction as compared to this 1 by 4. I suppose so, because both are actually pretty simple if you ask my frank opinion. Both are mathematically, they are very, very simple formula, simple ways of presenting the mathematics, but I'm just doing it because now some of the NEET students may find mathematics a little bit tricky for them to understand and then practice. You may not find it if you are a JEE student, definitely you may not find it, or if you are a very good mathematics student, even if you are actually not trying for NEET only, even then you may find mathematics comfortable enough. But then what I am telling you is based on my kind of practical experience over a long period or number of years with the students, especially the NEET student. I find that a good number of them are finding uncomfortable with reference to handling even the very small mathematics part of it. That's why I'm just now saying it. I'm not trying to make it now look simpler for them. That's the only reason why I not talked about it. Now we can continue. What is the next one further? Right. So now that's what it is. Then you may have mix of these two things about time interval as well as distance interval. Like for example, if I now ask you a question like this, suppose there is a journey from A to B, and then you are given the data that out of the total time taken, the first half of the time it is traveling with a velocity v1. v1 is the first half of the time of the total journey. Then let us say up to this. Okay, now this up to C. First half it is v1. Then for the remaining balance, it's now subdivided into 3 equal parts of distances, D, E, and F. Now distance breakup is T equal parts, and traveling with different velocities, v2 here, and then v3 here, and of course v4 is here. If like this, then what is the v average for the entire journey? What is v average for the entire journey? Now in which case what you do is, now this is now up to this AC is a time breakup, which is now half. Therefore that means suppose now the total time is T, then AC takes T by 2, the balance CB takes T by 2. Therefore now before you apply your T by 2 formula, as you know, it's a simple arithmetic average. Before that, then you have to go for this particular distance breakup first. Therefore now CD, DE, EB are equal distance breakup. Therefore first you take an average only for this part alone. What is the average for this part? Is nothing but 3 V1, V2, V2, V3, V4 divided by V2 plus V2, V3 plus V3, V4 plus V4, V2. Now this is now the average for the CB travel, the V average. Then what happens? This is for now T by 2. Then you take a simple arithmetic average between the V1 as well as this. Let us call this as now V dash. In which case, then what is the final answer? V average nothing but V1 plus V dash by 2, because simple average, arithmetic average of the two equal time interval parts values. Understood? Now okay. Now let me just now give. Okay, take this particular example. Example 5 is a numerical question based on a very similar kind of a mixed concept. Example 5. Okay, just read this. Consider a situation where a particle travels with v1 equal to 3 meters per second velocity for the first 1/3 of the time of the journey. The 1/3 of the time of journey. Then with v2 equal to 5 meters per second for the 2/3 of the balanced distance, and then with 10 meters per second for remaining journey distance. Let me draw the picture so that it will be clear to you. This AB is the journey. Now, it's not traveling v1 equal to 3 for the first 1/3 time. Therefore, this is 1/3 time. Let me call that now for T by 3, where now T is a total time. Okay, this is velocity is 3. Then what the data for the remaining part is now 5 meters per second v2 for 2/3 of the balanced distance. Suppose now this is, I call it as now, let us say yes. Okay, not the full distance AB, but only this part. Okay, this part is yes means. Then for the 2/3 it is now given as 2/3 means this is now s by 3. 2s by 3. This fellow is s by 3. Now it is given as, this is now the speed is 10. No, speed is 5 rather. This is 5, and then for the balance 10. Therefore, then what you do is, now you just take this particular, whichever is now giving you the subdivision here. Now this is the breakup first. You have to now take a average. What is the average for this? Now you will take up, it is now 2x by 3, 2/3 distance, 1/3 distance. Therefore, then what you have to do, it is now you have to take the average just like this. V average for, let's call it as now V dash for this particular part alone is given by now 3 times 5 into 5 into 10. Okay, 5 into 5 into 10 is your numerator. This divided by 5 plus 5 plus 10. No, once again, I am wrong actually. No, let me know. 5 into 5 into 10 divided by, what you have to do is V2, V3, 5 into 5 plus 5 into 10, next plus 10 into 5. Okay, now just calculate this. What do we get now here? 1, 5 you can straight away cross out. Then you have 150 numerator divided by 5, 10 plus 10, 25 equal to 6 you will get. Okay, therefore this is now this part for the second part, which is nothing but 2t by 3. Why? Because first part is now t by 3. The balance part is going to take time 2t by 3. Now the value average is 6. Therefore then what you have to do is, what your final answer V average is now is simple arithmetic average of, that is 1/3 of what the first value is 3, second and third values of 6 plus 6. This is what it is. Therefore, then what 12, 15. Therefore, answer is final answer is 5. Okay, this is how you must do this. Now, let's now take the past asked questions NEET. Let us say 2023. This should be now simple enough because you have done even some complicated mixed problem. Therefore, you should find them relatively simple. Let's do them fast. Okay, first of all, now read the question. Let's do it. A vehicle travels half the distance with speed v, and the remaining half with the speed 2p. What is the average speed? Therefore, then you know this has got to be done by 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2 formula. Therefore, now you have 2 into 1v into 2v divided by 1 plus 2. So much is v. Therefore, this is going to be equal to 4 by 3. V is the final answer. 4v by 3. Okay. Therefore, this is what is the final answer. Answer is 2. Next question. So see how simple such kind of questions are there. Especially at the NEET level, you will have only very, very simple question. You should not find any difficulty at all in quickly answering this question. Now take the next question. What is it? Car moves a distance of 200 meters. It covers the first half distance 40 km per hour. Then the second half is v. Then the average speed is equal to 48. Find the value of the second part velocity. Now it's nothing but a ulta kind of problem, because you are given 1 by 48 equal to 1 by 40 plus 1 by unknown v for the second part. You have to solve for v. Okay, no, simple stuff. You have to be able to do it. Next question. Vehicle travels. What is this question? This question is asked in some other NEET. Okay, recent NEET. Yeah, vehicle travel half the distance with the speed v, remaining half with the 2v. What is that? Now we did it. Nothing but the same kind of question. There were 4v by 3. Answer we have got. Okay, go to this particular question. A person traveling in straight line moves with a constant velocity v1 for a certain distance x, and with a constant velocity v2 for the next equal distance. Therefore, equal distance, two values v1 and v2. Therefore, then what is the average velocity is given by? Is given by 1 by v equal to half of 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. That means option C. Okay, next question. Car moves from x to y with a uniform speed vu. Yeah, vu, and then returns to y with a uniform speed vd. Then the average speed for round trip is nothing but, now instead of now two different values of equal distances, you are given as now to and fro movement. That is, go back, that is a to b and then back to b to a. It's nothing but two equal distances. Okay, therefore now it's going to be same as, this is going to be the 2 vd vu by vd. This is going to be the answer for this. You know. Okay, now you can actually now try these problems quickly. If you want, you just pause this particular video and then try it out. And then after you are trying it out, play the video. Then I will be showing you how to solve this. Easy problems anyway. Therefore, I will now show you the answers. Okay. Yeah. Now take your time and then pause the video as I said, and then come back and then play the video again, so that where you will see me solving the questions quickly. Okay, now read the first question. Let me just read and then solve it for you. A bus traveling the first to one third distance with a speed 10, then the next to one third 20, and the last to one third 60. Therefore, now the answer is going to be 1 by V average. What is asked for is 1 by 3 of 1 by 10 plus 1 by 20 plus 1 by 60. Therefore, now I'll take now the 0, the 1 by 1. Therefore, now this thing LCM is now 6. Therefore, 6 plus 3 plus 1. This is 4. This is 10 by 6, 10 by 18, 10 by 18 or 5 by 9 into the 50 by 3. 50 by 3. Therefore, now this is going to be, how much is this? 5 by 30 is equal to 1 by 6. Average is going to be 6. No, let me just now do it again. What we have got, one third of 1 by 10, 1 by 20, 1 by 60. Therefore, now LCM is now 60. We have got LCM is 60. Therefore, this is going to be now 6 plus 3 plus 1 is 10. 10 by 60 into 3. Therefore, 180 is equal to 18 is the answer. Next question. Car moves. Did you get the 18 correctly? Okay, if not, just check your calculation. Okay, now let's go to now question number 7. A car moves a distance of 200 meters. It covers the first half distance at 40, second half at the speed v. Then the average is coming to 48. Okay, find the value. That nothing but the reverse problem. It is given as 1 by 48 is half, that is average of 1 by 40 plus 1 by v. Therefore, then solve for v. I think you should get it as 60 if I remember right. Or check it up now. No, this goes, this 1 by 24. 1 by 24 minus 1 by 40 equal to 1 by v. Therefore, now LCM is how much? 6 into 4, 10 into 4, 6 and 10 equal to 30. Therefore, 30 into 4, 120 should be the LCM. Therefore, LCM you take it as 5 minus this below is 3. Therefore, 2 by 160. Therefore, 60 is the answer. You are getting 60. Did you get 60? Check it up. Okay, if not, just go to the working once again. Now go to your last question 8. A car covers the first half of the distance between two places, 40 and a half 60. For average speed, yeah, it should be nothing but 48 because just the previous problem is now getting reproduced. Okay, so now that you got this, therefore we have just now got several examples we just solved for the average velocity problem. But all the questions what we came across in the actual NEET happen to be only average of distance breakup, equal distance breakup. Because equal time breakup is a very, very simple question, therefore they don't ask. Even the average distance breakup also is very, very simple only, but then they keep asking such kind of a questions. In fact, even the recent JEE Main also, you would find such kind of a very simple questions, equal distance breakup, what is average velocity, asking it. Therefore, you shouldn't find any kind of difficulty in quickly answering such kind of a questions. Okay. Now the next topic, what you're going to do is relative velocity problem. We will see it now.